how's it going guys, Ray here. Yep, this video is recorded with my new S7 Edge, so you guys can take a look at the image and the audio quality. And it's exactly a week since it was released on the 8th of March if you pre-ordered one in the UK. So I think it's time for me to give you guys my full review on the S7 Edge. This is it, the Galaxy S7 Edge. The package does look premium, but the most surprising thing is the included USB connector. You can either use it for USB on the go, or even transfer the existing files from our old devices to the new S7 Edge. Anyway, this time I've changed the arrangement of this review by giving a clear conclusion at the very beginning. All the upgrades are actually hidden under the glass: IP68 water and dust resistance, microSD expansion, liquid cooling, huge battery, better camera, and much better processors. The things I don't like on the other hand are the color shifting on the edges of the display, the weaker loudspeaker compared to the Note 5, and the conservative decision they've made to stick with the last-gen microUSB port. The major problem I've got with my S7 Edge though is the design. Not as you guys may think, the curved display actually makes the S7 Edge slightly narrower than the A7 2016, which also packs a 5.5 inches display. It's also extremely well built, covered by curved Gorilla Glass 4 panels on both the front and the back, with an aluminum frame. And thanks to the better manufacturing processes, the glass panels are now melted to the metal frame. With the overall rounder shape, the S7 Edge is much smoother to hold than its predecessor. But the choice of materials and the design language haven't been changed for a whole year. That could be a problem as the A series now shares the same design language. Still, the S7 Edge is a fantastic piece of tech, especially the black is now black. Meanwhile, adding IP68 water and dust resistance and a much larger 3600 mAh battery without adding any bulk, and the comeback of the microSD card slot are some other welcomed changes. But please be reminded that the class and the speed of the card could heavily affect the performance of your phone, so get a better SD card if you want better performance, like the Class 10 U3 rating card I'm using. The fingerprint sensor is also a marginal upgrade from the Note 5. The camera, however, is the major upgrade. The 1/2 2.5-inch sensor with 12 megapixels increases the pixel size, with a larger f1.7 aperture. Theoretically, it allows 95% more light to come in compared to its predecessor. Dual Pixels technology also helps the S7 Edge maintain a shorter focus time than most other competitors. Before we look at the image quality, I've found some new functions in the setting menu. Motion photo. Literally, it's not live photo. It records the moment before the shot. And the second one is the selfie flash, so they work together like this. Hyperlapse is something like time-lapse, but even more aggressive. You can also get some pretty good slow motion shot. It is now at 240 fps, 720p. Other old stuffs like live broadcast, virtual shot, and selective focus are all there. Manual shutter speed is also accessible in the Pro mode. But hey Samsung, the companion icon for manual white balance is with first. Anyway, let's take a look at the image quality. For daytime shooting, the dynamic range is surprisingly wide. The shadow is handled perfectly with adequate brightness and sharpness. High color saturation and top-notch clarity can also be expected, even though the megapixels count is reduced compared to the Note 5. The S7 Edge is still able to keep things sharp. It is actually sharper than the Note 5 in the low-light environment. The difference may not be huge, but it is noticeable. Other than just the camera, we've got the latest Android 6.0.1 as expected. Only minor changes can be found on the new version of TouchWiz, but there are loads of new features. Always on display makes use of the AMOLED display to show the time and the date without draining too much battery. Burn-in is not likely to happen here as the clock shifts to another position every minute. The Edge display is finally more features packed. We can even download and activate more Edge panels like Twitter, SMS message and file manager. Apps Edge is still here, but we've got 10 apps. Switching between favorite apps is marginally quicker, but obviously it's not a game-changing function. Task Edge is something new. Instead of opening an app, we can jump right into a specific function of an app, like opening stopwatch inside the clock app or entering the selfie mode directly. People's Edge is almost identical to the previous version. Quick Tools is a more practical use of the Edge display. There are ruler, compass, torch. S Planner is now on the Edge display as well. Weather is a nicely designed panel, but I prefer the weather widget instead. Last but certainly not least is a third-party panel, CNN. I agree Samsung has tried as hard as it can to make the Edge display more features-packed than ever, but those features are still not a game-changer. The curvy design is, in the meantime. Speaking of functions and features, all the multi-window, floater windows, one-handed mode, and theming are here on the S7 Edge as always. And if you're a serious gamer, the newly added game launcher finally makes screen recording possible. We can also turn on Do Not Disturb when it's gaming, and lock the capacitive keys. Brilliant. The user experience is absolutely liquid smooth thanks to the new chipset, either the Exynos 8890 or the Snapdragon 820, depends on where you get your device. The Exynos processor actually performs much better on the CPU side. The Adreno 530 GPU on the Snapdragon 820, however, is clearly better. Still, both of them scores much higher than the last generation chips, both the CPU and the GPU. So everything on Play Store will not be able to challenge them in the near future. The 1 extra gig of RAM compared to the S6 provides better multitasking experience, but the truth is RAM management is still a problem. Running 2 games simultaneously with a bunch of apps will still cause background apps to close. Liquid cooling is something we didn't expect, as the S6 and the Note 5 were completely fine. In my experience, the S7 Edge never gets hot. It does become slightly warm after continuous gaming and benchmarking, but everything's under control. With all the great features and top-notch performance, we need a beautiful display to lift up the experience further. The truth is, the curved display still causes color shifting and distortion on the two edges of the display. It could be a deal breaker for some people, but for me it's good to go, as it gets all the benefits of an AMOLED display like deep black, vibrant colors, different color profiles, and exceptionally high screen brightness. It is absolutely one of the best displays on a smartphone. The speaker, on the other hand, is a downgrade from its predecessor. It is not as loud as the S6 and the Note 5, but it's still crisp and bassy. Audio output is on a similar level as the Note 5, ultra high quality upscaler, Tube Amplifier Pro, and surround sound are all here. With a newly added concert hall, it sounds better than surround sound, if you are not a basshead. And you can fine-tune the audio output with Adapt Sound. It basically tests you and your headphones' responsiveness to different frequencies, and adjusts the output. And finally is the battery life test. The 3600 mAh battery inside the S7 Edge flashed a new record on our standard test. In my experience, it's more than enough to support mid to heavy usage for a whole day. But it is a shame that Samsung sticks with the old micro USB port. It is also lacking Quick Charge 3.0. For charging technology, it is basically the same as the Note 5. Which is not necessarily a bad thing as it charges up quick enough for most people. So it's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Like this if you like this, and don't forget to subscribe. Once again, this is Ray. See you next time.